20세기 초 지식인들 사이에선 오컬트주의가 유행했습니다. 당시 오컬트주의를 이끌어간 유명한 인물들이 많습니다. 우리나라에선 오컬트주의를 언급하면 대부분 악마주의자 알리에스터 크로울리를 떠올립니다. 텔레비전에서 자극적인 내용으로 오컬트주의를 보여주다 보니 우리나라에선 알리에스터 크로울리를 오컬트주의의 리더로 생각하는데 개인적인 생각으론 크로울리는 사기꾼이라고 생각합니다. 20세기 오컬트주의를 이끌어간 인물들에는 과거 방송에서도 언급한 앨리스 베일리, 지드 크리시나 머티, 루돌프 스타이너 등등 다양한 인물들이 20세기 오컬트 열풍을 이끌어갔습니다. 이들이 가지고 있던 오컬트주의 사상은 현재 세계경제포럼이나 빌더버그 그룹 등등 다양한 글로벌리스트 조직들에게 사상의 틀을 제공해 주었습니다. 오늘 방송에선 루돌프 스타이너의 예언에 대해 이야기해보고자 합니다. 루돌프 스타이너는 괴테의 영향을 많이 받은 학자이며 사람들에게 신세계 질서에 대한 경각심을 주고자 경고성 예언을 많이 했습니다. 그는 개인의 자유를 중요시했고 기본적으로는 신세계 질서에 반대하는 사람이었다고 보여집니다. 루돌프 스타이너는 다음과 같은 예언을 했습니다. 앞으로 먼 훗날에 정부가 사람들에게 약물을 투여하거나 접종을 강제로 해서 그들이 영혼을 잃어버리게 할 것이다. 스타이너의 말처럼 약물을 통해서 사람의 정신을 말살하거나 영혼의 존재를 없애는 것이 과연 과학적으로 가능할까요? 인간의 몸에는 수포모노아민 수송체라는 것이 있습니다. 영어 약자로 VMAT2라고 부릅니다. 하버드 대학을 나오고 미국 보건청에서 근무했던 딘 헤이머 박사에 따르면 VMAT2 유전자는 사람의 정신세계를 지배한다는 연구 결과를 내놓았습니다.
And by spirituality, I'm talking about people's individual or internal feelings. It's a universal trait, and it seems in part at least to be driven by genes. So these are feelings like, I think the universe is larger than just what I'm seeing right now. I think there's a connection between me and other things. This sort of general feeling that there's something else out there. Well, it turns out at least one gene that's involved in spirituality has now been identified. It's one of many different players, and the next slide shows it. It's something called the vesicular monoamine transporter number 2. There are actually more than a dozen of them. And we think that somewhere, somehow, that's involved in our consciousness and spirituality. And everybody has this gene, everybody has the potential of spirituality. But some people, next slide, have one particular version of the gene that has two A's on the two different strands, the two different chromosomes, I should say. And other people have a C on one chromosome, and other people have one A and one C. And if you look at those little graphs there, it just shows that there is a subtle difference in the distribution of spirituality or self-transcendence scores, which correlates with what particular genotype people have.
어떤 형태의 VMAT2 유전자를 가졌느냐에 따라 그 사람이 가지고 있는 정신세계, 세계관, 종교관이 완전히 변화할 수 있다고 합니다. 그래서 미국 정부는 이 유전자를 통제하면 사람의 정신세계를 통제할 수 있다고 판단했으며 미 국방부에서도 이 유전자에 대한 연구를 했습니다. 지금 보실 영상은 미 국방성에서 진행했던 VMAT2 유전자에 대한 프레젠테이션입니다.
Excuse me, on the left over here we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics. And this is the expression of the VMAT2 gene. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
What you're suggesting here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? The aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FUNVAX, which is for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
100년 전 루돌프 스타이너는 정부가 약물이나 접종을 통해 사람의 정신세계를 제거하거나 약화시키는 음모를 저지를 것이라고 예언했습니다. 지난번에 다른 영상에서도 말씀드렸지만 트랜스휴머니즘, 즉 인간이 기계와 결합을 하려면 인간의 영혼은 말살되어야 합니다. 정신세계가 데미지를 입으면 사후세계를 경험하기도 어려워진다는 것이 이들의 주장입니다. 뉴럴링크를 통해 인간의 두뇌와 정신세계를 통제하려는 글로벌리스트 세력들.
But some governments and corporations, for the first time in history, have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings, in which humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me, so this is my free will, that's over. We need to come to terms with the fact that, this is where philosophy meets computer science.
지난 3년간의 사건을 돌아보며 스타이너가 예언했던 거대한 음모는 이미 일어난 것은 아닐까 혹은 진행되고 있는 것은 아닐까 하는 걱정을 하게 됩니다. 시청해 주셔서 감사합니다.